Welcome, it's Halloween week and I am the Invisible Man. Hope you have a great Halloween week, enjoying this. We have a great meeting for you today, and it's even better that you don't get to see me. Okay, we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. Who did I ask for that? Bill, can you do the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Absolutely. Fellow Rotarians and guests, please join me in saluting to our nation's flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, with the four-way test, I'm going to ask Lowell Gordon if he can do that for us.
Well, hello, good morning, fellow Rotarians. Please join me in the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. First,
Is it true?
second,
Is it fair to all concerned?
third,
Will it build goodwill and better friendships?
fourth,
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
and fifth.
Is it fun?
Yeah.
Well, I'm seeing the back row from up here in the front. They're doing a good job staying nice and quiet back there. It must be the front row that's noisy today. All right, we're going to move right into guests. We haven't even visiting Rotarians out there. I am invisible, so you can see me up front. No? Okay, I've got some guests here. Mary Weiss, you have a guest.
Yeah.
Mike Leonard, you have a guest.
I do. Right here, we've got Mr. Joe Wolf with the Thurston County Auditors, second week in a row.
Fantastic. And so you know, Mike, you are the one who was invited by, so it's not the name of the guest. So when you fill out your form next time. All right. Joe, you're hosting Mike today for some reason. All right, and we have one more guest listed. Rolf, you have a guest?
Hey, Nick.
All right, fantastic. Do you have any other guests here?
People see where I am really.
All right, let's do our Think Rotary. And again, this is a great opportunity for us to find, notice and recognize the Rotarians doing great things in the community, especially in the business sector. So, I see Bill as I'm looking out to the left. Bill, go ahead.
So, not necessarily business, but a little more about why we're all in Rotary. I got a new secretary at work. She needed a place to live. The first rental fell through. I put that out during Rotary first. Patrick Davidson hooked me up with the real estate outfit next door to his office. Hey, they might have a house. Bam, Tara has a house. So, thank you, Patrick.
Okay, Mike Leonard.
Hey, I want to do a shout out to Nate Peters. Where are you, Nate?
Nate.
So, in addition to everything else that Nate does for Rotary, he's also our president of South Sound Partners for Philanthropy. And I honestly think if he wasn't in that position, that entity would not run. So, Nate, cheers.
Yay, Nate.
You have one?
I did on Saturday morning, bright and early. Dan came over and made sure my chariot was beautiful for the whole week, so I could drive around all week. So thanks, Sal. Thanks, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
And one more in the back, Lowell.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago I bought a couple new vans and a new truck, and I needed to get my logo and name put on it. And who did I think of but Grace Kimball?
Yeah. And you have one last one because he was kind of, I wasn't just going to say complaining, but not complaining. Past District Governor Tom Merrill.
Well, I
So I had the need for an electrician. I had kind of an emergency situation, and I knew there wasn't an electrician in the club, but I thought, who in the club would know about an electrician? Mike Stedman.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Okay, at this point, yes, Mike?
Well, I was gonna say that, we just purchased a new division up in Kent, the 250,000 square foot warehouse. And Lowell Gordon's team came out and, set up our office products for us. And, so, thank you, Lowell.
Yay, Lowell. All right, here for Lowell, and I'm gonna do a shout out right now, and it's gonna be to Old Blarney's. So, first of all, great job with the Pints for Polio event. Let's hear it for Old Blarney's. Oh, I'm sorry, she's doing it.
So, the Sherry's here with us this morning, and Mike Keelan. So there's Pints for Polio, 686 pints.
Whoa.
Right, and I didn't see all of them.
No.
I'm sorry, 343 pints for $686, but Mike rounded up $750 check.
Thank you, Sherry and Old Blarney's. Let's hear it for Old Blarney's, folks. And yes, that's me. You can see now on the TV screen. The Invisible Man is over with. Okay, that was a great time. We're going to move right now into Rotary Foundation Minute. A member of the Foundation Committee will now share more information about the Rotary International Foundation and the good we accomplish in the world through our collective support.
Only if I can get around here.
I'm looking forward to hearing
Just
from
take
Nina.
me out.
Hey, Nina!
I want to thank Nate for asking me to do this. Thank you to those who supported the Polio Plus initiative on World Polio Day last week through your individual gifts. And for those who attend, how many went to the Pints for Polio at Oak Park? Way to go. Nice job, everybody. We received an email recently, maybe some of you guys saw this news. My husband actually told me about this. On World Polio Day, October 24th, Dr. Tedros Ghebreyesus, World Health Organization Director General, announced that wild polio virus type 3 has been certified eradicated. Thank you for making a world free of wild polio virus type 3 a reality. Thank you to all the countries, to all the donors, to all the stakeholders, partners, advisory and oversight groups, policymakers, and Rotarians. Yes.
Yeah.
WPV3 is the second strain of the polio virus to be wiped out following the certification of the eradication of WPV2 in 2015. Are you taking notes? You following all this? Okay. This leaves only WPV type 1 remaining to be eradicated. Also, there have been no cases of wild polio in Nigeria for over 3 years. So Africa is just about ready to be declared polio free. We are facing challenges in Pakistan and Afghanistan, as we know. And we and our partners are determined to complete Rotary's first priority, the complete eradication of polio from the planet. So, November is a Rotary Foundation month. Stay tuned to learn about what your committee, Nate, David, are you here? Stacy, and hear more from our Foundation Committee and how you can support and be involved. Thank you very much.
Okay, as discussed last week, Amanda Bay, a committee of board members chaired by Madeline White and including Jerry Wilkins and Amanda Bay, reviewed the bylaws and made a few changes mostly focused on the election process. These changes were sent out on October 19th to the club with a call for a vote at today's meeting. As such, I am looking for a motion to revise the bylaws as amended and presented by the Bylaws Revision Committee in writing on October 19th.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any discussions? All right, call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much, and again, a big thanks to the Bylaws Committee. With these changes in place, we can proceed with the process of election of officers for 2020 and 2021. On Wednesday, December 4th, the club will host its annual meeting, at which time we will have our ballot election of officers for 2020-2021. The positions of President, Vice President, Secretary, Treasurer, Sergeant at Arms, and Director at Large will be decided by a ballot vote. This election will also include correcting the voting process and include the voting of the President for 2021-2022, who will serve first as President-elect. In the future, we will make sure the voting for the President serving 2 years in the future is done properly. As per the bylaws, I have put together a nomination committee chaired by past President Eric Rowe that includes President-elect Janine Zell, past President Jonathan Sprosky, and 2 members at large, Patrick Davidson and Mindy Luke, to present the slate of officers. At this time, I would like to ask past President and Nomination Committee Chair Eric Rowe to come up and present his slate of officers.
The nominating committee has met, and the nominating committee proposes the following slate of officers for the term of July 1st, 2020 through June 30th of 2021. President Janine Zell, Vice President Nate Peters, Secretary Jerry Wilkins, Treasurer Mike Jones, Sergeant at Arms Mike Leonard, and Director at Large Shannon Glenn. And then the nominating committee proposes Amanda Bay for the position of President for the term of July 1st, 2021 to June 30th, 2022. So those are our 2 proposals.
All right. All right, let's hear it for the nomination committee. They're doing a great job. I really want to thank everybody for their efforts on that. With that, I'm going to announce we're going to bring up our Vice President to the stage, who is going to announce the program for today. Let's hear it for Amanda.
All right, so today we are going to have a presentation by Youth Build. This is a partnership between Community Youth Services and Newmarket Skills Center. With us today we have Matt Newton and Jason Lucarelli. I wasn't even going to try it without help. These guys helped establish the Youth Build program at Newmarket Skills Center and have been working together for 10 years. Matt is one of the Youth Build construction instructors and has been teaching construction trades to at-risk high school students for 14 years. Jason is the Youth Build program director and has been working with at-risk youth in various capacities for 18 years. Please give your attention. Thank you.
Go ahead, take it loose, yeah. All right. Right on. Right on.
Okay. Well, hey, thank you for having us. I'm Matt, and so we're going to be partnering with the Rotary this year to build 4 little tiny houses. So first we're going to tell you just a little bit about our program, and then we'll tell you how you guys can get more involved. And so we're going to start out with this little picture right here, because I think it speaks a lot to what our program is about. There's a young woman right here that's the I in Youth Build and got a pink hard hat on, and her name is Ashley Robinson, and she was in our program many years ago. And part of our program is that we take kids that have never ever operated or used a power tool before, and we teach them how to build a whole house from the ground up. And so our first project is they have to build a sawhorse, and that teaches them the table saw, the miter saw, and cordless drills, and the skill saw. And then when they do that, they earn their rain gear, because we build houses in Washington through the middle of the winter. And so when they earn their rain gear, and Ashley came up with the idea to put this picture together. And so I got up on a scissor lift. I'm about 30 feet up in the air taking this picture. And it was a really hot day. People were like sweating bullets in these suits and stuff. But this is really kind of the essence of our program, is we bring a lot of kids together that have been pretty disenfranchised or disengaged from the high school experience. And we get them re-engaged and come in, and these kids are from all over Thurston County. They don't know each other before they come here, and we get them to do like really amazing stuff together like this. So the program is a Department of Labor funded program. It started in New York in the 70s. A couple was walking around New York City and saw a bunch of abandoned buildings, saw a bunch of kids on the street that weren't in school, and put the 2 of those things together and started rehabbing apartments in New York. Now there's over 200 youth build programs across the country. There's 7 in the state, and so we are serving the whole Thurston County area. And so the Department of Labor funds the program, and then Community Service administers the grant. and they provide leadership and coaches, and then New Market provides the construction, instruction, and then the academic portion of the program. So who we serve, it's 16 to 20-year-olds, mostly high school dropouts or people that are about to drop out from school. We do offer, our program is a little interesting. We offer now nursing through the partnership at New Market. They have a PMC program, a professional medical career program. So students have an option to go into 2 different tracks. I'm just here to kind of represent the construction track. But all of our students are low income. Most of them have experienced homelessness at some point in their life. A lot of them are court involved. Some of their parents are court involved. We have immigrant youth and students with disabilities, and then also foster care. So these are kind of some of the required, they don't meet all these, but they have to meet one of these to get into the program. So how it works is in the right after, at the beginning of the year, we have a tryout, and so about 50 students show up. We only have 32 spots, so we have to see, they have to compete over 12 days to get into the program. And most of what we're trying to see is, are they going to show up and are they going to play nicely with each other? And then everything else that we can make happen. And we make them do some crazy stuff. This is them carrying 16-foot logs from New Market to Pioneer Park and back. That's about a 6-mile walk, and I think we do that on like day 2 or 3. Third day of mental toughness, we're like, hey, guess what? You're going to be carrying a log from here to Pioneer Park and back. And then the bottom picture, we have them dig a 4-foot by 4-foot by 4-foot hole in the ground. And we're just kind of seeing, we're always mixing them up in groups and trying to see how well they're going to kind of like work with each other. And then we pick the final 32. So this is this year's group, and so you all will get to meet some of these students. This was one of the hardest decision years we've ever had to make. We ended up with 40 at the end, so we actually had to find alternative placements for 8 of the students in the program. So the program's kind of broke down into 3 different parts. 50% of the programs, we're trying to get them their high school diploma. We're trying to get them re-engaged in high school. And they also have an option, depending on their credit situation, to get their GED through the Gravity program. And so that's the 50% of it. And then 40% of it is employability skills through, you can go to the next one. We build stuff. So our main partners really have been Habitat for Humanity and Homes First. And so these pictures right here are from the Habitat job site. And we've built over half a dozen houses with Habitat, once again, from the ground up with kids that have never touched a power tool. And so this one up in the upper left-hand corner, this is us at the key handing ceremony for a family of 4 a few years ago. But you can see, I mean, we teach them, they're using the tools. I mean, they're using circular saws to cut TJIs and rolling trusses and getting incredibly dirty, and they're doing this all the way through the winter. Sometimes we're shoveling snow out of our job site to do these things. So I just want to go through a couple projects. This is a Homes First project, and I know many of you are familiar with Trudy Sukup, and I know that she can't be here today. I texted her last night. But this is one of her projects. This is in Tumwater. This is 423 Z Street. This house was abandoned for 10 years. It had hundreds of police calls for people breaking in, squatting in it. It's kind of what we would, in the old days, call a crack house. The younger kids call it a trap house. Been set on fire, was infested with rats, and so the city of Tumwater got Wells Fargo Bank to donate the house to the city, and then they were like, what do we do with an old house? They then gave it to Homes First, and then Homes First partnered with us. And so over 2 years, we took this house all the way down to the foundation and rebuilt it into a beautiful 2-bedroom family home. And this home ended up going to a military veteran with 3 kids. And while she lived in the house, she earned her high school teaching, or her middle school teaching certificate, and has since moved out of the house, but she's teaching middle school social studies here in Washington. This is another Homes First project. This was a garage in Lacey. Lacey wanted to try to increase density, so they changed some of their ADU rules. And so this is a house for developmentally disabled adults, and this is a garage behind it. And so we converted that garage over 2 years to a 1-bedroom accessible dwelling for an adult. And then this is a picture many years ago, 2011, we were involved in building our first tiny houses for Camp Quixote, which then became Quixote Village. So we built 4 of these tiny houses on trailers, and that kind of was the impetus for getting that whole Quixote Village kind of off of the ground. We got a bunch of like really cool press and stuff, and it kind of created some of the groundswell to make that project happen. And then this is just another example of some of the projects we do. This is in Yelm. This is an emergency preparedness shelter in Yelm, and it's at the Emmanuel Lutheran Church. And the church does a dinner twice a week for the homeless in the bottom floor of this, and then the top floor of it was for emergency supplies if Rainier were ever to blow. Lahar would probably go through Yelm, so the Red Cross provided some of the funding for this. But then what we're here really to talk to you guys about is tiny houses. And so this is last year's successful project for us, and it was the Plum Street Village. So this is 32 little tiny houses. It's tucked on some city property behind the Japanese garden. It's run by Lehigh, which is the Low Income Housing Institute, and it's a transitional housing facility for people transitioning out of homelessness. And so we got to build a few of these houses last year, and then we built all the decks on the houses, and then this big deck on the bottom left is where they have a big kitchen area and a commons area, and then they parked a hygiene trailer which had 3 ADA bathrooms and a laundry facility. And so we got a lot of experience with these little tiny houses, and so far this place, if you guys ever have an opportunity to go down and check it out, you're welcome. It's open to the public. You can go, and it's actually serviced by Lehigh, and you can kind of look at it. It's amazing how well taken care of and clean it is. And so what we do is we build these. So we built 4 of them last year that are not even on the, we built 2 for Plum Street, but then we also built 4 of them for last year through a Pac Mountain Workforce Development Grant and the some Lehigh funding. This year we're partnering with the Rotary, the Lacey, Olympia, and Gateway Rotary. And so we're going to build 4 more of these. Our hope is that they go at a church on the corner of 18th and Boulevard. Is interested in putting a development of 8 of these. We're hoping that they go there, but if not, they will probably get dispersed through other places that Lehigh runs in Tacoma or Seattle. But the nice thing about building these is we build them undercover at New Market. And so here you see we build the floor upside down and we insulate it, and then we flip it over, and they're raising walls, and these are just some of our kids taking pictures inside. The nice thing about these is we get to do everything. We do the roofing, so it's complete. We do the painting, the windows, the interior finishes, the insulation, the flooring. But we get to do that undercover, and we have ropes hanging from the ceiling, so we teach kids how to use fall protection. It's kind of just like a big playground for big kids. So we want to talk to you a little bit about the success. So we could give you our numbers of over the past 11 years, like our success rate, which we're super proud of. But instead, we really just want to highlight one kid to show you what can happen from our program. So Andre was a high school dropout. He had a felony on his record coming in that he thought would totally destroy his chance for success. He was low income. He had struggled with homelessness as well. Came into our program, and it's interesting, we barely let this kid in because he had a rough mental toughness. Ended up being one of the best kids we've ever had. In our program, you have to sign in and sign out twice a day to get perfect attendance, and we offer them a small financial stipend for showing up, so they kind of get paid to go to school, but it's like not very much. This cat did that perfectly every single day of the year. So if you imagine a high school kid that dropped out, but being able to sign in and sign out of our class twice a day for the whole school year, it's a pretty incredible task. And then when he finished with us, he didn't quite have enough credits to graduate, so he came back to New Market, entered into the construction trades program, got his high school diploma, but also had perfect attendance after our program. And so we ended up getting him direct entry into the United Brotherhood of Carpenters. And long story short, this guy makes a lot more money than I do at this point. And that little felony that he had, we were able to help him get that cleared up. He ended up having the most highest construction military clearance that you need. And he was working on Bangor military base, building the structures that go over and protect the nuke subs that are up there. So I mean, that's kind of the success that some of our kids have, and we're really proud of Andre. So how this works for our program, we started, and this is what we're hoping is that people will volunteer. And I don't know how much, maybe Doug has talked to people about this, but we're offering opportunities for people from the 3 Rotaries to come in and actually work with our students. Absolutely no experience required. I think it would be really cool if you have never done anything with construction and you showed up and we could actually teach you something. Or better yet, have one of my students teach you how to do some of the construction skills that they've learned. And it's really about you being there and kind of being a positive, mature presence in their life. Most of our students are the parent in their household, and a lot of times you wouldn't want to have anything to do with their parents. So, but this is our schedule, and we'll have 2 slots. You can sign up for an AM session or a PM session or both, that's fine. So we start at 8, and we have a morning meeting every morning. So 30 kids sitting in a circle. It's kind of intimidating to walk into it first, but I'll help protect you. And then from 8:15 to 10:20, we go out and we do construction. Construction sometimes will be book work. Sometimes it'll be working on a little balsa wood model, but then we always take it out into the shop and make sawdust. Then we have lunch. You're welcome to join me for lunch. I go to McConey's every day. And then
gets the same thing every day too.
Yeah, so it keeps me healthy. 11:10 to 1:40 is our afternoon session. We get right to work. We kind of do the same. It's 2 different sessions. And then we have a closing meeting, which you're also totally welcome to join us for. That's what our leadership portion of the program. We usually have a fun group activity or a really fascinating discussion about life. And then this is a picture of us finishing up one of the 4 tiny houses from last year. And this is last year's group, matching shirts. So we did want to open it up to, if you guys have any questions about the Youth Build project or our program or the tiny house project or past things, or and I'd be happy to answer a question.
When do we start?
Next week, we're going to be getting the materials for the tiny house, so people would be able to sign up then. I know you're the 3rd Rotary that we've talked to, so some of the other Rotaries have gotten some of those spots.
What?
Yeah. I think you've got it split up. You've got it split up into different spots, but we'll start building these tiny houses next week.
No problem.
Yeah.
In that first example, the abandoned house for 10 years, the city donated it.
Yeah.
Or the bank gave it to the city. The woman and her 3 kids moved in. Who owns the house at that point?
So that house is owned by Homes First.
Oh.
And so Homes First is model is that they buy houses throughout the community, and then they own those as a landlord, and those either go to low-income families, adults with developmental disabilities, or sober living facilities.
They maintain ownership.
So they maintain ownership, yeah, so Homes First owns the house. Yeah?
I'm sure you guys have even more amazing stories. Thank both of you for doing what you guys do. That's incredible. And on behalf of the board of directors for Homes First, thank you for partnering with us to make exactly what Anita is saying happen. You just described Homes First to the T, and we could not make our mission of providing safe, healthy, and affordable homes to those in need happen without partners like you guys. So thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity.
So, what's the floor plan of a tiny home?
Okay, it's pretty simple. It's a 8 by 12 insulated room, and then in the back end we build a bed platform, And then once the houses get put into place, a commercial electrician has to come in and run exterior conduit to all of them.
Right.
And so they have one outlet, a light switch, and a light bulb. In essence, it's a heated bedroom. And then they have to use a common kitchen area, and then the showers, bathroom, and laundry have to be provided on site. And so the Plum Street Village, it was a hygiene trailer. A lot of times the church properties, they have sometimes they open up part of the church. So, yeah, very simple, one room.
Quick question, and I'm asking for a friend.
Yeah.
So, if there was a need for that, not necessarily that type of structure, could you come out and actually build that at someone's place and, you know, are you for hire? Is the group for hire as far as donations?
Well, so for our projects, they have to be low or no income. So if they are, you know, we built a tiny house on a veteran's property out in the middle of nowhere. So I mean, we can do those projects, but they just need to fit that no or low income. And then we have to talk about, you know, safety for the students and site permitting. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yep. Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right, well, let's hear it for them, folks. All right, and as everybody knows, we're back to regular format. What we love to do for speakers is we present a book, part of our literacy program. I can't speak. Our literacy program.
You need to get some speakersy.
Is that we donate a book to Everglades Elementary School and with signed book by our speakers. So to honor Pleasant Glades, what did I say? Everglades. I really can't speak. Pleasant Glades Elementary School. So with that, on the theme of tiny houses, we got Seashells, More Than a Home, as the book that we were hoping that you could sign today. So maybe we just do a quick picture?
Take a tiny picture.
Okay, we're going to move into our announcements section, and first I'm going to ask if Lori could come up. Lori Carroll, let's hear it for our literacy chair.
Good morning, everyone. So October's over, and we've done a great job collecting books. I see they've all piled up there, and people keep telling me they're in their cars. So I just want to say thank you so much. And I don't have a total count. I will get that out to you as soon as I get it. And I know South Sound Reading Foundation will really appreciate what you've done. Thank you.
Well, big thanks for Lori. Great book drive, and it's always good to hopefully defeat Bill McGregor and the Lacey Club anytime we get a chance. Megan, you have an announcement. Let's hear it for Megan.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to give a shout out if you are a part of the service committee or want to join the service committee. We are meeting right after this meeting to talk about all the exciting projects the rest of the year and plan for next year. So I hope to see you there. Thanks.
And do we have any other board announcements at this point? Great. I have two announcements myself. First, the next board meeting has been moved to Clearance Wade Event Center on Monday, November 4th, starting at 5:30 p.m. And Jerry will be sending an email out for that. So thanks to the board, and we're going to be meeting next Monday, just so everybody heard that. And then finally, as Madeline starts, oh, she's already here. As Madeline makes her way to here, I just want to remind everybody, voting is very important. And just tell a quick story on my own part. Let me take a couple seconds. So I was sailing on board a ship. It was a bulk ship. We were heading out to the Middle East back when I was sailing as a cadet. I was a young guy, probably about 20, 21 years old. And the chief mate's talking about how important voting is. Absolutely, it's essential. It's a right that we have, an obligation that we've got to do, and it's a real important, essential item. And the AD on watch said, well, I didn't vote. And the chief mate started yelling at him, saying, you've got to vote, it's your right, you have to do that. And then he turned to me, he goes, you voted, right? And I said, no, I didn't vote in the last presidential election. And he starts yelling at me and said, it's your obligation. I said, I had a good excuse, chief mate. Saying, there's no excuse in the world for that. and he continues on, I was disgraced with me, and he thought I was the worst thing ever, and I'm looking at him like, I was 17 years old, I couldn't vote. So at the end of the day, that's my message, vote early, vote often, and make sure you get your vote in. So with that said, I'm going to say goodbye to our folks at home, who I'm sure are filling out their ballots right now, and I'm going to hand it over to our Sergeant at Arms. Let's hear it for Madeline